Hello and good day. Welcome to another lesson of our subject, Media and Information Literacy. For this week's lesson, we're going to discuss media and information sources. Information sources are persons, groups, and documents from which information is obtained. A media and information literate person will be able to critically evaluate information in its sources and to incorporate selected information for problem solving and analysis of ideas. Next, we have here the word information. This means facts provided or learned about something or someone. In the present day society, there is a great and urgent need for access and availability of information. The need for information in its various purposes, from aiding in decision making, increasing the ability of personal knowledge for the recipient, generating new information, and the list goes on, helping thousands of people if this information will be beneficial. The value of information can be found if it meets a certain characteristic, such as follows. First, we have here, before evaluating the information sources, it is very important to think about the information is for. This will help you identify credible information sources. So this is the first characteristic of information, which is the reliability of information. Information is said to be reliable if it can be verified and evaluated. Others refer to as trustworthiness of the source in evaluating the reliability of information. So what would be the questions to ponder in answering this characteristic of information? First, what are the details of this piece of news? Which of these details can be verified in other sources? Could these details be true? Why or why not? Next, we have here the accuracy of information. Accuracy refers to the closeness of the report to the actual data. Measurement of accuracy varies depending on the type of information being evaluated. Forecasts are said to be accurate if the report is similar to the actual data. Financial information is considered accurate if the values are correct, properly classified, and presented. So here are the questions to ponder. Which of these facts are measurable? How were they derived? Was the article written in an objective manner? Is the article written with care? That is accuracy of information. Next, we have here the value of information. Information is said to be of value if it aids the user in making or improving decision. So this characteristic of information means if the information decides or it gives the listener the clearer view of what to choose if ever he will be deciding on something. So that will be the value of information. So what would be the questions to ponder? We have here we should consider the audience of the article. Who would find this article valuable? Okay, the next information we have here is the authority of the source. So sources with an established expertise on the subject matter are considered as having sound authority on the subject. Much of the information we gather daily do not come from a primary source but are passed on through secondary sources such as writers, reporters, and the like. Okay, so if you're going to scrutinize an information, an authority on a certain source or the authority of the person said it will be a good choice. Okay, for example, if you are looking for a medicine, if you're looking for something about medicine, no, if someone, a doctor, give you a certain information about a certain disease, no, that will be an authority of the source, meaning the information came from a person who has this expertise and knowledge when it comes to that subject. Okay? Next, we have timeliness. Timeliness is the reliability, accuracy, and value of information. So this may vary based on the time it was produced or acquired. So while a piece of information may have found accurate, reliable, and valuable during the time it was produced, it may become irrelevant and inaccurate with the passing of time, thus making it less valuable. Other information may be timeless, proven to be the same reliability, accuracy, and value throughout history. So timeliness means it is the time when the information was produced. Okay, so the more the timeliness, the early or the current time the information was released, so of course that information is very valuable. Okay, thus other information is timeless. For example, the things that we study on books, the things that we study in different history books, or the different biography books that we may have. That is the example of the timeliness in information. Next, we have information sources. Information sources are persons, groups, and documents which information is obtained. The media and information literate person will be able to critically evaluate information and its sources and to incorporate selected information for problem solving and analysis of ideas. The proper use of information made available by media and various information providers depends on people's ability to understand their information needs and to locate, retrieve, and evaluate the quality of the information they can access. Today, there is an extremely wide and diverse selection of information material, content, and resources available particularly on the internet, varying greatly in accuracy, reliability, and value. In addition, this information exists in a variety of forms such as text, image, or statistic, electronically or in print, that can be made available through online repositories and portals, virtual and real libraries and documentary collections, databases, archives, museums, etc. And the most important factor, however, is that the quality of this information can range from very good to very bad. This is from UNESCO 2011. Information sources. We have here the different sources of information that we can go through, or we can go to if we need certain information. These are library, internet, alternative media, and indigenous media. We can think of information as being held by media and other information providers such as libraries, museums, archives, and the internet. These information providers have a number of roles, including to inform, educate, provide access to all types of information, and preserves cultural heritage and entertain. Okay, so what are the different information sources that we have here? First, we have the library. The library is a building or room containing collections of books, periodicals, and sometimes films and recorded music for people to read, borrow, or refer to. So, library guys, I do hope that you already experienced going through a library, no? Here at our school, we have our libraries at the 3rd floor and the 1st floor. Next, there are several types of library. Libraries are often classified into 4 groups. These libraries may be either digital or physical in form. The first one we have here is the academic library. It is a library that is attached to an institution of higher education which serves 2 complementary purposes: to support the school curriculum and to support research of the university, faculty, and students. Basically, these libraries can be seen in universities and colleges. So what are the different examples of this? So that's the picture, no? Next, we have a public library. So a Public library is a non-profit library maintained for public use and usually supported in whole or part by local taxation. So examples of public libraries are the different libraries that we can see in our local areas. Examples are Muntinlupa Public City Library and the other city library that you can go to. Okay, so there are many public libraries, especially in Manila, wherein you can also see the National Library. No, so you can be a member of National Library for only 50 pesos. Okay, next, another type of library is a school library. So basically, a school library is a library within a school, well, where teachers and students have access to books and other resources. So guys, this is self-explanatory. No? A school library is a library typically you can see in your school, within your school. Okay. Next, another type of library is a special library, a privately owned library that forms a unit of a business firm or other organization, specializes in books and other material of special interest to the organization which is part of it, and usually serves only the staff or members of this organization. So what are the different examples of special library? One example is the library when you see in the hospitals. No? So these are the different when doctors go to surgery, for example, or doctors have to reread something, all they have to do is to go on their library to review. Okay. Next, we have here the skills in assessing information from libraries. First, assess the tool to use. Next, how the information being accessed may be classified. The depths of details required. Some libraries provide only an abstract of the topic. More detailed information might require membership or some conformity to set the rules of the source. Next, we have the ISSN and ISBN for books. ISSN stands for the International Standard Serial Number, which is an 8-digit number. It is used for series of books such as newspaper, annual publication, journals, magazine, collection, websites, database, and blogs. So this is an example. So libraries of published books are often considered highly reliable, accurate, and valuable. Books and documents from dominant resources are often peer-reviewed. So these two, ISN and ISBN registration, ensures that standards were followed in producing these materials. So I have already discussed to you the ISSN. So let us go to the next, which is the ISBN. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number, which is a 10 or 13-digit number, which is used for single books or specific volumes such as monograms. This is to identify the publisher. Okay. So next we have Internet. In Internet, information can be found, but sometimes it varies in form and content. Thus, it is more difficult to determine its reliability and accuracy. Accessing information on the Internet is easy but requires more discipline to check and validate. No? Because as we know, there is so much information on the Internet, but there is a need for filtering what is true and what is not. Factual and fictitious data are often merged together. Sources always have to be validated. Okay? So Internet is a global computer network providing a variety of information and communication facilities, consisting of interconnected networks using standardized communication protocols. So that is the definition of the Internet. So let us go to the skills in determining the reliability of information. First, check the author. The author's willingness to be identified is a good identification of reliability. So if you encounter a certain information on the Internet without the author, it means that something might be wrong in the said information. Next, check the date of publication or update. No? While the information may be true, it may not be reliable if it is outdated and may have lost relevance. Okay? Next, check for citation. Reliable authors have discipline of citing sources of information. Next, check the domain or owner of the site or page. The domains .edu and .gov are reserved for academic institutions and the government, respectively. Information from such sites are presented with caution and are usually well-grounded. Site owners may have an agenda that affects the manner by which information is presented. Last one, check for domain or owner of the site of page. The domains .edu and .gov are reserved for academic institution and the government, respectively. Information from such sites are presented with caution and are usually well-grounded. Site owners may have an agenda that affects the manner by which information is presented. The last one, check the site design and the writing style. Credible sources take time to make their information accessible and easy to comprehend. Next, skills in determining accurate information. Number one is look for facts. So it is the usual instinct of a information literate person to look for facts. So if we look for facts, we look for the truth, we look for the validated information. Next, cross-reference with other sources to check for consistency. So if we gathered the facts, if we have already checked the facts, cross-reference it with other sources to check if it is true. Determine the reason for writing and publishing the information. Check if the author's objective or leaning heavily on a certain point of view. And the last one is check for advertising. Advertisers may use related information to market their product. Okay. The next one we have here is the two standards for citing references. So these two might be familiar to you. The first is the APA or American Psychological Association. So it is commonly used to cite information, to cite sources in psychology, education, and social sciences. Citing in APA format for websites is this, no? The last name, first name, and the middle initial, the M. So the year, month, and date published, article title, retrieved from, so the last one is the URL. Next is this, okay? So as you can see, there are some also websites that offers you this kind of this kind of citing references, no? To make it a lot easier for you to arrange information in APA format. Okay, next is the internet. So there are two standards for writing references. First is the MLA, stands for Modern Language Association, which is this, no? Citing in MLA format for website is this, no? Author's last name, first name, title of the article, individual page, title of website, name of publisher, if any. So date of publication, day, month, and lastly the URL. Okay, so this is another example of MLA format. Next is another source is alternative media. Other alternative forms of communication and distribution have become popular. These include social media, blogs, and flash mob performances. These alternative forms provide greater freedom and power to ordinary individuals and are a quicker way of distributing information. The downside is that a lot of the information being passed around is biased and inaccurate. So, what are the different forms of alternative media? We have the social media, We have the blogs here and the flash mob performances. Let us go to indigenous media. Indigenous media means, or indigenous, the word indigenous means native, local, originating or produced naturally in a particular. Now let's go to indigenous media. Indigenous means native, local, originating, produced naturally in a particular region. Next, indigenous knowledge, knowledge that is unique to a specific culture or society. Most often it is not written down. Next, indigenous communication is the transmission of information through local channels or forms. It is a means by which culture is preserved, handed down, and adapted. Let us define now indigenous media. An original information created by local people. This also refers to content about indigenous peoples that may be distributed through dominant forms of media through forms of communication that is usually unique to their people group. Next, what are the importance of indigenous media? First, popular media cannot reach some rural areas, while print, broadcast, and other new media have a wide reach. There are still areas that these forms of media have not reached. Next, indigenous media information are highly credible because they are near the source and are seldom circulated for profit. Another importance of indigenous media, these media are channels for change, information, and development because of its direct access to local channels. Ignoring this kind of media and information can result in development of educational programs that are irrelevant and ineffective. So let us now see the different forms of indigenous media. Number one is the folk or traditional media. Next is the gatherings in social organization, direct observation, records, which may be written, carved, or oral, and the last one is oral instruction. So more of this will be explained to you through your Meet to Learn session. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is a graphical technique for visualizing connections between several ideas or pieces of information. Each idea or fact is written down or then linked by lines or curves to each major or minor idea or facts, thus creating a web of relationship. So this is one example of mind mapping. There are 5 essential characteristics of mind mapping. First, the main idea subject is focused or subject is crystallized in a central image. The main themes radiate from central image as the branches. The branches comprise a key image or keyword drawn or printed on its associated line. 4 topics of lesser importance are represented as twigs of the relevant branch. The branches form a connected nodal structure. So, how are we going to make a mind map? First, think of your general main theme and write that down at the center of the page. For example is birthday. Figure out the sub-themes for your main topic. Concept and draw branches to them from the center beginning to look like a spider web. So the first one is gifts, activity, and location. Number 3, make sure to use very short pieces or even single words. Number 4, add images to invoke thought or to get the message across better. And number 5, try to think of at least 2 main points for each sub-theme you create and create branches out of those branches or out of those branches. So mind mapping, as you can see here, at the middle, this is the central idea. The thicker lines are the sub ideas and the smaller are the sub ideas. Okay, so I do hope that you get how to make a mind map. Okay? Next, so let us now move on to the open educational resources. So it is any type of educational material that are in the public domain or introduced with an open license. So the nature of this open material means that anyone can legally, freely copy, use, adapt, and reshare them. Okay, so it means it is free. OERs range from textbook, curricula, syllabi, lecture, notes, assignment, test projects, audio, video, and animation. So what are the different examples of open educational resources? Full course modules, syllabi, lectures, homeworks, assignments, quizzes, lab and classroom activities, pedagogical materials, games, simulation, and many more resources containing in digital media collection from around the world. Next, these are the examples, or these are, yes, this is examples of open educational resources. Number one, Open Professional Education Network. They provide pre-support and technical assistance to all grantees of the 2 million Trade Adjustment Assistance Community College and Career Training, or TAA CCCT grant program from the U.S. Department of Labor for information about giving us free information. Next, the Community College Consortium for Open Educational Resources, and some more. Okay, so these are some examples of open educational resources which you can use for your research. So that's it, guys, for our lesson for today. I'll see you again next week. Thank you and God bless everyone.